You've probably heard the term sustainable development thrown around a lot, right? But what does it actually mean? Well, it's not just a buzzword. It's a really powerful framework for tackling some of the world's biggest challenges. And today, we're going to break it all down into its three core pillars.
So, here's the game plan. We'll kick things off by looking at the global issues that make this whole idea so necessary. Then, we'll get into what sustainable development actually is before diving deep into each of the three pillars: the economic, the social, and the environmental. And stick around, because at the end, we're going to uncover the one core principle that ties this whole thing together: our promise to the future.
So, why do we even need a new way of thinking about progress? Well, it really starts with taking a hard look at the complicated world we're living in right now.
This is the big question, isn't it? For centuries, progress often came at a pretty steep price, either for the environment or for certain groups of people, or, both. The whole point of sustainability is to find a way to move forward without leaving a trail of destruction behind us.
And listen, the stakes could not be higher. We're facing this tangled web of problems. See, poverty and inequality aren't separate from running out of resources, and climate change is absolutely connected to losing biodiversity. You can't just fix one of these in a vacuum. It won't work. We need a solution that looks at the whole picture, and that's exactly where this framework comes in.
Okay, so how in the world do you tackle so many intertwined problems at once? The answer lies in a framework that was literally designed to address them all head-on: sustainable development.
At its heart, this is the definition. It's all about finding a balance between what we need right now and what people are going to need in the future. It's this recognition that everything we do today has a ripple effect for generations to come. And the key here, the really crucial part, is that this whole balance rests on three essential interconnected pillars.
I want you to think of it like a three-legged stool. For that stool to be truly stable, you need all three legs to be strong and in balance, right? You need a stable economy, a fair society, and a protected environment. If any one of those legs is weak or broken, the whole system just tips over.
All right, let's dive into that first leg of the stool: economic stability. And it's so important to get this. This is about way more than just making money.
So the official definition here is all about the long game. It's asking, can our economies keep functioning and producing value, not just for the next few months, but for the next 100 years? It's a huge shift from thinking about short-term gains to focusing on long-term health and viability.
Now, this is where it gets really interesting. Sustainable economics pushes back hard against a system that's only about profit. Instead, it argues for what it calls a just economy, one that's built on a solid foundation of human rights, fair prices for stuff and for labor, and actually holding corporations accountable for their impact. Think about it. When a company decides to pay a living wage, that's an economic choice, right? It directly helps reduce poverty, which is a social goal. See? That's that interconnectedness we were talking about, right there in action.
And that idea of a just economy is the perfect bridge to our second pillar, the one that puts people right at the very center of the whole equation: social equity. This pillar is all about human well-being. It's basically asking, can our societies actually support everyone, not just the wealthy or the privileged, but every single individual, every group, every community? And can that system of support last for generations?
And this slide, this really shows you what it's all about. The goals here are massive: fighting for social justice, protecting human rights, demanding equality for everybody. It's about empowering people and actively trying to tear down unfair systems. And you just can't do that without a stable economy and a healthy planet to back it up.
And that brings us to the third leg of our stool, the one that a lot of people think of first when they hear the word sustainability: environmental protection.
The core idea here is actually pretty simple, but it is so powerful. We have to manage our natural resources in a way that doesn't use them all up. The whole goal is to make sure our planet stays healthy and vibrant, not just for us, but for every single person who comes after us.
So this is where we get into the big stuff. This pillar is all about tackling the most critical environmental crises we face, from fighting climate change and cutting down pollution to stopping deforestation and protecting the incredible diversity of life on our planet. Each one is a huge challenge, and yep, you guessed it, they're all connected.
So we have our three pillars: economic, social, and environmental. But what's the glue? What holds these different areas together? Well, it turns out they are all united by one single, incredibly powerful ethical idea. This right here is the philosophical heart of the entire framework. It's the why behind everything we've been talking about.
And here it is. This is the phrase from the original definition of sustainable development, and it is everything. It's a really profound commitment. It says, sure, we have the right to meet our needs today, but, and this is the big but, we do not have the right to do it in a way that stops future generations from being able to meet their needs.
This idea actually has a name. It's called the intergenerational principle, and it totally transforms sustainable development from just a policy idea into an ethical promise. It's a solemn duty we have to the people who are going to inherit this world from us.
So if we're serious about keeping this promise, it means we have to keep all three of those pillars in balance. And that leads me to one last question for you to think about. When you look at the world today, which one of these three pillars, the economic, the social, or the environmental, do you think is the most out of whack? Where do we need to focus our energy right now to make sure we keep our promise to the future?